years. Call the meeting to order. Stand for pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Barbianchi is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Bob Tanis.
Here.
Commissioner Tom Blount is absent. Commissioner Stu Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Joe DeLuca is absent. Commissioner Al Ramirez.
Present.
Commissioner Luke Stempien.
Here.
City Manager Craig Horton.
Here.
Our city attorney is not here. We have zoning administrator Lonnie Hayes.
Here.
Fire Chief Keith Lockhart.
Here.
Thank you.
Approval of the agenda.
Move. Any additions? Any additions?
No.
That's what I'm asking.
I move the approved as written.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Approval of the consent agenda items. Any questions, Craig?
No.
I move to approve the consent agenda items, including the payment of $563,053.90.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Have a vote.
Davis.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Stempien.
Yes.
Tanis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for citizens of the floor. Anybody would like to stand up and speak would be greatly. There's a time limit, but as long as you're closing down, we will extend it, okay?
I do have
And your name and address,
I'm
please.
sorry, my name is Eric Allison. I live at 455 Colonial Drive, apartment 7.
Okay.
I do have,
You got more time.
You get a little more time. Sorry about that.
Clock stop.
do you mind if I pass my notes really fast?
Sure, you can.
I'm really nervous, sorry.
I get one. That's okay. You're not the one that just broke the stopwatch here in the middle of the meeting. I'm gonna take that on my paycheck.
Okay.
Take it.
Thank you very much.
We don't pay for the year.
That's what's in the cost.
I think I keep my note over there.
Yeah.
All right, so as I said, my name is Erica Allison and I'm a resident of Imlay City. I am here tonight to speak about a public health crisis affecting our community. Water damaged homes, workplaces, and schools contaminated with mold. In my own apartment, water damaged drywall has not been properly remediated. My landlord suggested I move out rather than fix the problem. This is the second time a housing community in this town has harmed my family's health and was willing to break our lease instead of protecting tenants, thus passing the problem on to the next tenant without disclosing there is an issue. The exposure to mold in these homes has made me sick and are at the root of my chronic health issues. My 20-year-old daughter currently works in a building in this town where water damage has caused visible mold growth on the ceiling tiles above areas where food is served, putting employees and the public at risk. I myself had to leave a job recently at a workplace that was also water damaged. My digestive system was shutting down and I had to make a choice between a paycheck or my life. My 16-year-old daughter has not been able to attend public schools here in Imlay City since her freshman year because environmental factors including water damage and mold exacerbate her symptoms and even trigger seizures. Her high school career has been taken from her due to constant exposure in housing, businesses, and school buildings. My youngest daughter has also been severely affected. She experiences poor memory, chronic body pains, exercise intolerance, pulls out of her eyebrows and eyelashes, and struggles with behavioral issues, all of which are caused by exposure to mold and water damaged buildings. My daughter is only 11. These experiences show that water damage isn't just an inconvenience, it's a serious life-altering health issue, yet there are no enforceable standards requiring landlords, employers, or school districts to remediate properly. Too often, profit is prioritized over people's health. I am asking the commissioners to take action by requiring proper remediation of water damage in mold in homes, workplaces, and schools, supporting worker and student protections from unsafe environments, advocating for mandatory mold remediation standards at the state level. Our community deserves safe homes, safe workplaces, and safe schools. My family's health and my daughter's education have been devastated by these preventable environmental hazards. Please make this a priority before more families are harmed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Craig, can we put in our new business and let Lonnie talk about it?
I have a question.
No time for questions.
Can this be added to?
That's what I'm just asking.
Well, we've already approved the agenda, but yes, we can add that.
Let's put it on new business on draft, and then we'll talk to Lonnie Hayes about that. That work for you?
If you think so.
I think we should go from the agenda as.
Right. We need to make a vote to agenda amendment as,
I move we amend the agenda adding that, water damage to our agenda for tonight.
I'll second.
for a second. All in favor?
All right?
Opposed? Carries. Okay. Anyone else from the floor? Okay. Do we have a guest speaker?
No guest speaker,
No guest speaker. Department head?
no department head.
No department. City-owned property. Old DPW building.
That's you.
That's me. Okay, I'll excuse myself. Now I'm down, so I talk into the commission. Okay, this is how it's going with the building. The building, all the steel is on the outside of the building. Yeah, you'll see a couple holes in it. We're waiting for the doors to come in. The overhead doors will be in the first of the week, all 4 overhead doors. Peter's Glass is supposed to install the doors, I think the first of the week, and then the outside will be done. So, and then we'll move forward what we're going to do inside on the inside, and that's where we're at. Okay. Thank you.
Building will be completely sealed outside? like-
Yes.
We're done with the outside, basically.
Um,
We're done with the walls, basically.
yes, basically we're done with the rest. Midwest Chemical Paid application number 2, city office improvement, pages 25 to 27. And I think,
Yeah, just before the meeting, I passed out a email from Superintendent Freeze recommending approval of the payment
Yeah.
in the amount of $228,084.80 on page 25.
I move we pay the 225,
228,085.80.
228,085, payment due. Move we do it.
have a motion.
Yes, I said made a motion.
We have a motion on the floor to pay Midwest Construction in the amount of $228,084.80. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. Roll call.
Davis,
Yes.
DeLuca,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
Symbian,
Yes.
Tanis.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have a timetable, by the way, when we're going to finish with the building, when we know that they're all done, all done.
I hesitate to guess, Stu. It just,
Can you give us a month?
um,
I mean, I'm not even a day.
it'll be done by the end of September.
Okay.
Okay, on to new business, code
This is why Keith's here.
Fire prevention. That's why Keith is
Yeah, I'm here.
here.
Hi, Keith Colbert, Fire Chief, Iowa City. Yeah, basically, you guys got paperwork provided to you for the first reading. It outlines what we're asking to do and planning on doing going forward is adopting a fire code in the city. One of the reasons why I was hired in, that was one of the things that we were asked to get started on to get done, because currently the city right now has no adopted fire code. So it's real hard to enforce anything if you don't have a code adopted. That's what the process of doing. So where we're at is we've basically, I've actually went to other cities, and Lapeer being one of the cities I've worked with quite a bit, and I personally know the fire marshal there, work quite a bit together to pull their stuff up and see what they're doing. And we also talked to Holly, Ohio, Davidson, and even got Shelley Township in there. And we reviewed a bunch of stuff that they were doing as well to see what we want to put together. Where we landed is we want to adopt International Fire Code, the 2024 version, which dovetails with International Building Code. I'm a little ahead of them right now because they're also going to bring their stuff up eventually too, to a higher level. But so those two actually mesh together, so that's the plan to do that. And with that, we want to bring the National Fire Protection Association, the Life Safety Code 101, and then we also bring a couple other things, which is the sprinkler, National Fire Protection Sprinkler Code 13, as well as the National Fire Protection Alarm Code 72, which also brings in some of the stuff that our businesses that are sprinkled and have alarm systems, and we make sure they're doing them per code properly. And there's some issues I found with that as well. It also, one that we talked, it also brings in the key boxes. So the businesses in the future will be required to have key boxes on the outside of the building, so that we don't have to have a billion different things to try to get into the building, or have like a key holder for rebuilding, we have access. It establishes all the regulations and the Board of Appeals that goes with them, because they have to put that together as well, in case we have something we need that needs to get appealed and reviewed. It also establishes a fee schedule and escrow account for doing inspections, what people work in the businesses on. And then there's a bunch of other odds and ends in there that was actually in some of the prior ordinance that we had that's also been brought in as well when it comes to open fires and these kinds of things. So that's where we're at right now. This is a first reading. I know Barb had a question as of last night on trash containers. And I can talk to her more outside of that. But the bottom line was her concern was the way the ordinance is written is, any trash container, dumpster of a certain size has to be so far from the building. It's like 10 feet from the building. It can't be anything near combustible. It's supposed to have a lid on it. And the lid just needs to be out of a non-combustible material. And she had some concerns about some of the containers around town. I think she even concerned about the trash receptacles in front of the businesses, which don't fall into that category. So I can work with her specifically on that to see if we need to adjust the language. So like I said, we're trying to do the right thing. The plan is to start doing inspections. I've got some things to do once this gets approved, and getting software, and getting some things put together to get all that off the ground started. I'd like to get that done before the end of this calendar year, so we can get this off the ground. I've got 270 non-residential entities in this town that most of those will fall into requiring some sort of inspection. So we're going to put together a program of how we're going to cycle through that, and which ones are going to be the high priorities, and which ones we're going to do on a less frequent basis, as well as anything that happens new build wise. So just want to get this in front of you guys for your consideration. And as I said, this is first reading, so we got to come back in again for the second time with any updates you have, or any more work that needs to be done.
And the commission has seen parts of this before,
Yeah.
and you've worked with the attorney.
I have, the attorney's already reviewed this. It's already been vetted through the attorney, and this was her final copy back to me. So anything that we changed along the way, just bring it back to Christine and make sure she vets it before we proceed forward.
Does that include that box that's gonna cost them $500 for the key?
It's the box, yeah, the box is a fee to it, and then
And they'll have to buy a $500 box to put on.
business of a certain size will have to buy a $500 box.
Right.
Why can't all the merchants, all the businesses businesses in town give you their address, their et cetera, and a call number, and you have it in
We
your file.
have that, and I'm here to tell you, we will wait for an hour on scene sometimes to get somebody to open the door.
You can't do that?
I can, but if it's an emergency, then I have to do forced entry.
We had it in the glove compartment that we all had, they pull it out, but any officer, any truck can pull it out.
Well, actually, I can't pull it up. I have to call Central Dispatch. They have on file key holders, and quite honestly, to be honest with you, half the time we call, the key holders either aren't available, or they're wrong, or they're not current.
Yeah, it's also gonna give you time, a long time to get it, key, I understand.
Yeah, it does. And I do not like to have to force myself in the building when I got a sprinkler system going on.
I just don't like that some of these workers are gonna have to pay $500 for a box.
That's a cost of the box, which then provides us with a lockable.
Can the city buy a bulk of these boxes and get them cheaper, wholesale?
Probably not. We can find out.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all set up. The Knox box system is all set up. I have keys for him, Pete's got keys for him, we just need to implement the
Yeah,
box.
but can, let's say our city buys 100 boxes,
Do we get them cheaper than he
I
can sell them
I
to
can
them?
I can find out.
Yeah, we'll check it.
I'll find out on that one.
yeah,
If we can save them some money, we'll try.
Yeah, we'll find out.
and I think that's only fair.
Because one of the things that's happening now is they'll give me, a lot of businesses, they'll give me a key card. Well, here's a key card to our business. Here's a fob to our business. Here's a key to our business. And it's getting to the point where, what do I carry and how do I access all those keys? And, you know, it's pretty good. So I'm trying to get back to, let's do what every other city does. And let's go to a box system where we can actually access it. And once we open the box, usually they're wired and they will know, monitor, they will know if the box has been opened.
Who's doing the inspection?
I will be, I am currently the fire inspector for this.
You can't have your men do the inspection.
No, because I can train them how to do inspections, but I am the one that has to ultimately do it, because I am a licensed fire inspector for this.
The only reason I suggest that is if your men do your inspection, they learn each building.
I get that, and I totally agree with you, and they can do that, they just cannot do it without me.
Okay, try it.
No,
Well, I'll acknowledge. Chief, do you remember off the top of your head what the size of the building had to be is required?
I want to say it was over 2,000 square feet. We had this conversation once before, that if
Yes.
you're less than 2,000 square feet, and if you're existing build, because you're worried about the building, specifically the businesses in town. Most of those would not comply, and have to have a Knox box. But we also talked about the possibility of them going together and being a common Knox box for buildings.
Chief, do you know how many businesses that would affect?
Like I said, there's 270 now business entities, so I'm thinking about half of those are probably going to be, you know, right now I look at Ventec, I look at all the ones out there that we go to, we've been to NVH like 3 times, and it's been tech getting, you know, somebody there on site, open that building up to get us in. Meanwhile, they got sprinklers going.
Now, are these buildings that are owned by someone who's out of town, or are these businesses in town?
These are businesses in town, a lot of times the maintenance guys, everybody else, that don't necessarily live here. And we work with them in some cases. If you have somebody that's local, you might want to make them a contact, because, you know, they'll come in, and as opposed to waiting for somebody that lives down in Troy or whatever to drive up here to let us in the door. So, but yeah, that's one of the things it does bring. It also brings in the fact that every business has to have an address on it.
If I may,
Yes, go ahead, Ron.
in answer to Mr. Davis's question about his firefighters doing inspections, Construction Code Authority got 2 inspectors registered with the state of Michigan to do fire inspections, required to be registered with the state of Michigan. And it was like $1,500 to $2,000 per person to get them registered. So if they're not registered with the state of Michigan, they can't do the inspections.
Yeah, I'm not arguing.
No, I'm just pointing out that they have to.
The reason I like it is that the firemen learn the buildings.
Oh, I know.
That's what I like.
Now, there's nothing saying they can't do a ride-along with a register, but he had, in order to do the inspection, he has to be registered. But they could, yes, right along.
Yeah, I cannot let it go on their own.
I'm not
Yeah.
pushing,
No, I
I'm just
understand.
saying that my reason.
But they can do a ride along, and we're gonna have to figure out a way to manage that. But yeah, they can do a ride along and check with me.
Any other questions?
He's looking for a motion to accept this as the first reading.
Can I get a motion to accept this ordinance?
I'll make it under time of protest. I think we need something, but this is not what I wanted. I'll start it. I'll make the motion under protest, so to speak.
What do you want?
Yeah, I mean, what do you want us to do?
I want individual inspections by firemen, and it's, and I think we ought to find a better way to cover the $500 box for everybody. There's a lot of people that are gonna have a hard time with that. That's like, I'm guessing it's around $10,000, $11,000 to buy boxes for the city. I don't know how the city wants to face that.
But most of the businesses downtown.
You may want to see if the DDA wants to pick up the tab too.
Yeah, but most of the businesses downtown don't qualify to have a box, because they're not big enough.
Right.
That's the catch.
They could always decide to voluntarily get a box
Right.
too.
Right.
They're not required under code.
Yeah.
If you do extensive remodeling, gives you some new picture.
Anyhow, I made the motion, go ahead. We gotta get, I made the motion, so it doesn't die.
What was your motion, Stu?
I accept his
First reading.
proposal.
Ordinance number 94-03, amendment to the City of Imley City Code of Ordinances,
Yeah.
Chapter 94, Fire Prevention?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Should we do a roll call? Let's do a roll call on that.
Davis?
No,
Stempien?
Yes.
Ramirez?
Yes.
DeLuca?
Yes.
Tanis?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, next one is resolution 2514. It's on page 46.
This is an annual formality with the proclamation for National Scenic Tracks Think Train Week. It's a safety thing for the train, and we've done this in the past. They send us the resolution, and we publish it as well.
I move we accept resolution 2025-14.
Do I have a second on that? Or, roll call?
Davis?
Yes.
DeLuca?
Yes.
Stempien?
Yes.
Ramirez?
Yes.
Tanis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Here's delegate.
Yeah, I'm going to attend the annual business meeting for Michigan Employee Retirement System of Michigan. And in order to be able to vote at the meeting, you have to designate me as the officer delegate. So there's a form we have to submit to them. So they need a motion from you guys approving me as the officer delegate.
So move.
So move what?
Make him delegate.
Okay. Do you have a second?
I will second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Before we move on, do we have an employee delegate?
No.
We don't have one?
No.
Maybe. I know that we used to do an election for an employee delegate.
We can do that again if you want.
Is that something we want to consider? Sending an employee, they can learn, it's a workshop basically, is what it is. They learn about the retirement system.
You going?
Am I going? I could. No, but I think it's something that's good. especially for employees or unions, the unions that are here to send an employee.
Will the union pick up the tab?
I'm not sure, or the city picked that up.
I think historically, the city picked it up.
Yeah,
I'm not sure when we stopped it.
What would the cost of that be?
city usually picks it up.
I mean,
It's
not
a
super
hotel stay.
crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's a couple $100 to register for the meeting and then a hotel room for 2 nights.
Plus the hotel, plus the travel mileage.
And mileage, yes, of course.
So it'd be about, what, $400 or $500?
Yeah.
So
I
we're
don't think it'd be a
good.
horrible idea.
Huh?
I don't think it'd be a horrible idea, so have more years on information.
I think the employees, what they did was an election,
Yep.
so they would.
Again, which employees, the police, the fire,
Yeah,
Just
the
any
law?
public.
Yeah.
One of each?
No, it would be just one employee.
Oh, we have how many unions?
But there can only be one employee delegate, so all the employees would have to vote,
Right.
and whoever
Yeah,
gets
but
the
it
most
would be,
votes.
how many,
will.
we have a police union,
Yes,
we have a city union here, a union here,
the office union and the DPW wastewater.
we have G,
But they all fall underneath the MERS
Right,
system.
they're all in the same group.
So,
So they have to vote for it?
yes.
Out of a pool of.
Yeah.
And when is this,
available.
when is this?
I think it's the second week in October.
Okay, so,
Enough time to get it together.
okay, they got time enough to put it together. don't you?
As long as there's still time to register. Do we know when the?
Yes, no,
There
the
is.
deadline hasn't come yet.
Okay,
We're way ahead on this.
okay, then I guess that's a pleasure of the board, that's what we'll do.
Should we do?
Make a motion to,
I would make a motion then to send an employee delegate to the MERS conference
And hold an election.
and hold an election. Yes.
Yep.
there's support?
I'll support that. Give it to Al.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Okay. Thanks, Joe.
so on that motion, we should put in who pays for it.
Well,
I think
again,
it's-
we're sending a representative of the city.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
well,
automatic.
so given it, the way it was worded, it's okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, town hall discussion.
Okay, Dawn prepared this document for Birmingham. We talked about it at our last meeting. We think that in order to give everybody enough notice that we should call it a town hall instead of a public hearing. Public hearing indicates that you guys are holding a hearing and going to vote on something. This is just a town hall for informational purposes. And again, we suggest that the meeting of September 16th, is that what we recommend, Dawn? That's basically a month out, gives everybody plenty of time to get notice. And so we're asking you for us to be able to publish this notice to make everybody aware of that town hall meeting.
And the plan would be for the 16th
Yes.
at 4 PM.
It can be any date you want, but we're thinking that it probably should be about a month out to make sure everybody has a chance to do whatever research they want and be notified of the meeting.
I think it was part of the city commission meeting,
Yeah,
so it was 7 o'clock in the evening, so everyone could attend.
right.
There we go. I don't think any of us would have any conflicts. We're already gonna be here. If we just plan for it during our normal commission meeting.
Yeah, right. Okay,
To authorize you to
so now you
publish the
need
notice,
to,
yes.
go ahead.
Authorization to publish the notice.
Sure, so I would move that we give Dawn their permission to offer, or authorize her to give out the notice for the town hall meeting. That would be at our next, or not our next, but on the September 16th regular scheduled commission meeting at the 7 o'clock time to discuss the Inlay City Public Safety Building.
Do you have support? Support. All in favor?
Question first.
Go ahead.
How did they feel about it at the other building?
We've had some people come over and take a tour actually and look around the buildings. We've had a FOIA request on some information, so I think we're getting mixed reactions. I read in Wednesday's Sound Off meeting where somebody thought it was a great idea that it's a consolidation of city facilities and it seems more efficient. And again, we've had some seniors that have concern whether this building's gonna be big enough for them, so that's why we're having a discussion.
What about the cost to them? Do we have worked out, it could be less if we switch, or?
Again, right now, it's nothing to the seniors, it's to the county. The county
Yes,
basically
I
leases
understand
that
that, but I
space
mean,
to some.
somebody's gonna pay it, and have we talked about how much they're gonna have to pay?
I think that the county currently only pays $6,500 a year for that building,
So we're gonna give them, for this, for the same or less?
for the same.
Craig, you want to explain? I think the audience is standing there in a daze of what's really happening. I listen, I see that, what's really happening is they're thinking of moving the city office with the police station and having the senior citizens come here. It's just.
For permanent, or? Yes.
It will be, that's why we're having a town meeting. We want everybody's voice.
Oh, so this ain't just while construction, this is a permanent move you're making?
If, it all depends what seniors want to do, and that's why we're having a town meeting over it. Nothing's been cast in stone, nothing like that. It's what we're gonna have, that's why we're having a town meeting over this. Okay? That's what it's over.
It's an option.
So, okay, so. We've already okayed that, we can do that.
We had a motion and a support,
Okay,
and then discussion.
we have discussion, any more discussion on it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. TPOA contract.
We're gonna go into closed session for that, so I asked that
Closed session.
we move that down to the closed section.
Okay. Okay. We got water damage. Now we're gonna go to Lonnie Hayes to help us out on that one.
Can we go to the water damage over that and come back? Go
Yes.
to-
Yeah, we'll do the water damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, water damage is on, yeah. The other one got moved to closed section, down on 12.
Yeah.
Go ahead. There, you can help explain what's going on, so.
Excuse me. I'm Lonnie Hayes, zoning administrator for Imlay City and building official for Imlay City as well. I received the email forwarded by the mayor and city manager from the resident questioning the issue of mold. Now, water damage and mold is two separate issues. If we want to talk water damage, that's a structural, that's a separate issue from mold. Mold, mold is everywhere. You buy a loaf of bread, you bought a loaf of mold. You buy a block of cheese, you bought mold. I've been dealing with this issue for probably 20 years. And I get a lot of complaints, and I'm not, trust me, I'm not belittling or belaboring or diminishing her concerns. I mean, they're real and they need to be addressed. The problem is the state has no standards for testing mold. The state health department actually tells us, if you think you have mold, don't waste your time and money testing. There's no standards, there's no state laws, there's nothing on the books for mold. This is a letter from the state health department regarding a mold issue we had in the county. Just to summarize, we do not recommend testing for mold. This is for several reasons. First, there is no health-based standards to compare any testing results to. Second, mold spores will be present in indoor environments. Levels in indoor environments will be less than those found in comparable outdoor samples. Buildings are not airtight. Third, there are no laws in Michigan regarding mold. The cause of mold growth, presence of water is an issue that may be covered by local building ordinances, which is not in the Imlay City building ordinance, or local health departments, depending on the source of the water. Basically, and when they talk about the source of the water, if you have a roof leak and you got a stain on the ceiling, what they say is clean it, fix the leak. Find the source, eliminate the source. A big issue, and this is what I've run into a lot of times, is again, I'm not saying in this instance, because I'm not aware of the circumstances. But I've been on inspections where the people say, I got mold. And you go in and the bathroom is mildew. Well, and all I can say is get some bleach, clean it up, turn the bath fan on, open a window, eliminate that moisture that in that instance. Now, the state health department goes on to say the focus should be on cleaning up the mold once it is identified and addressing the reason that it's there. And the big question that comes up is, what about black mold? Okay. Again, from the state, and this is a pamphlet put out by Michigan Department of Community Health Department. And it's all about mold. And it says, where should I look for mold? But toxic mold, black mold, give you the Stracobacterus, close as I can pronounce it. Black mold, stories about toxic mold have been seen on TV. Black mold is not worse than any other mold you may find in your house. This is not me speaking, this is the health department. According to the U.S. Center for Disease Control, the CDC, the term toxic mold is not correct. Certain molds are toxigenic, meaning they can produce poisons called mycotoxins. The molds themselves are not toxic or poisonous. You do not need to test your mold to find out if it's toxic. Just clean it up like you would any other kind of mold. How do you stop mold from going in your house? You find a cause. Okay. Is the roof leaking, causing water, standing water will cause mold. A lot of times, they're finding the health issues. I'm allergic to some molds. I can go to my nephew's house for Christmas and I spend an hour in the basement and I will be stuffed up and plugged for a month because whatever he has, and it's just, now again, that's not diminishing the concern and not diminishing the reality that there is mold. Okay, the question is, how do we police it, if you will?
How do we legally police it?
Pardon?
We have to legally police it.
Legally police it, but there's no state laws to guide us. They leave it to the local ordinance. And, I mean, you can call the local health department, and they're pretty much going to tell you this, the same thing. I hate to say it, but I mean, there's your rental units are inspected biannually, I believe, but for 2 years, 3 years, whatever, I did one today here in the city. And we're looking for signs of water damage, wet basements, stained ceiling. If there is, then then we can make the owner address that. But if there's no sign of, and again, there's no testing.
Question, if you're going to tear down a house or a building and it's full of mold, can we just tear it down like if it had no mold at all?
Let me expand on that a little bit. You tear down a house and you think there's asbestos.
No, I know that asbestos. Okay, how about mold? I know that's why I brought the question.
I to you. If you think there's asbestos, you have to test for it by state law. The state has an asbestos remediation department. They don't have a mold department. So basically, the short answer is no, no. Now, that's not saying that you can't pass an ordinance of some sort. I mean, because the housing laws of Michigan, and it states, and this is pretty much, your city has adopted the International Property Maintenance Code, which is basically what we do the rental inspections under. Not under the building code, not under the rehabilitation code, but under the property maintenance code, which means you have to keep your property properly maintained. And that code, says repairs every home and all parts of the home, plumbing, heating, ventilation, electrical wire, kept in good repair. The roof will be maintained to prevent leaks and rainwater drained properly emptied into the sewage system following the plumbing rules. So, I mean, under the property maintenance code, that's where, like I said, if I see evidence of a roof leak, then I can write a violation and say, hey, you've got to fix your roof. If I see mold or mildew, it's like,
Does that mean that if, in her case, I'm not trying to, in her case, could she sue for that, or can she not, because there's no law?
that's in here, that's addressed. Somewhere. And I'd be glad to get Craig a copy of this. Because that is a big issue when there are floods, or hurricanes, or things like that, your drinking water, something goes wrong with your city water system, they put up boiled water there, just, because the water can be contaminated.
Again, there's nothing, you can't define it, so you can't sue for it, though.
Well, Craig can answer this better, or your water. They test the water all the time.
That's the water.
That's your water system. And if they find that there's contaminants, they have to address it. That's, I'm not finding the hurricane, but I know that I know the flooding and that.
It's our water.
Is addressed.
So the state is not doing it.
Yeah, the state health department is, I was at a meeting where this came, and one of the members of the board, like yourself, was a science professor, and he sat there and listed off the molds that are in your everyday life, outside and inside.
As a city, we can make our own regulations and have, before anybody moves into a rental, it gets inspected, and we can have our own rules at that point, can't we?
Yes, you could. You have a rental ordinance right now. Now, it does not require an inspection. It requires what we call an annual inspection, and I believe it's 3 years, once every 3 years. We have some jurisdictions that's every year, some jurisdictions it's every 2 years. Some jurisdictions, if you pass this time, you get a 3-year. If you fail, you get a 1 year. But you could amend that to say that if a rental property becomes vacant and a new tenant moves in, before the new tenant moves in, it must be inspected, even if it was inspected last month for the annual inspection, so that before a new tenant moves in.
But even if we did, we could not define mold anyhow.
No.
And there's nothing we could put in an ordinance to say, hey, this is what we as the city believes is an acceptable standard, an acceptable maximum mold content.
No, we can't. Because
You'd shut down every building in town.
we're not capable of defining it. We're not scientific.
Right. No, that's what they go on to say. I mean, they say there are no health-based standards. So you would be creating health-based standards and saying 1,000 parts per million or whatever.
We have no technology to justify whatever we put in there.
We could be sued by the landlord because we're arbitrarily
Yeah.
taking a standard.
And we couldn't define it because we're not scientifically capable of defining it.
Now, addressing the young lady's concern about rentals and, okay, she mentioned a business, and correct me if I'm wrong, a business that has, she called mold on the ceiling where there's food being processed and served. Okay, sounds like a restaurant to me. Call the health department. They can shut that restaurant down for that. That's in the health department standards, keeping that kitchen or serving area clean. But that is, again,
What are our options?
like I said, you can amend your rental ordinance to require, I mean, you're limited, to be honest, you're limited.
It's limited to indirect stuff, essentially saying, oh, well, we're gonna look closer for more indices of water damage, which could be, mold could be an indication of water damage, but it's not, oh, hey, there's mold, here we go.
Yeah, and we responded to complaints about mold, and again, I can go out and tell you that, yeah, you have an issue, but you need to clean it. Okay, it's pretty much, it's pretty much on the tenant to keep, especially bathrooms, like I mentioned, the mildew issue. Wet basements are, how do you keep a Michigan basement or an old crawl space that, a short person has to duck to get down the stairs, it's basically a glorified crawl space, but the furnace and everything's down there. And there's no drainage system in these old houses as far as perimeter drainage. New houses require perimeter drainage, new houses require dry basement. Old houses, they've been there forever, and you're gonna have that kind of issue. So, and like I said, that's the mold issue. Now, as far as water damage, we had an instance downtown where they had to fix a roof on their building because it was leaking. And so that can be enforced because that's property maintenance.
So there's no way we could write anything into an ordinance about mold, because we can't
No.
define it. We cannot define it.
You'd have to define it.
Can't define it, and there's no definition.
Correct. No state standards for it.
I mean, I hate to be, from the young lady, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but, all I can do is stay last minute touchy.
Any other questions, concerns? Thank you, Lonnie, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, citizens 34, it's your time again. Everybody else want to get up? I guess not. Okay, at this time, we're going to go into closed session, so that we will have to ask all of the people to leave, so we can go into closed session.
We'll reopen at the end of the closed session.
I move that we enter into closed session for the TP-OAM contract listed under our new business item E.
Pursuant to Section 8 of the Open
Pursuant to
Meetings Act.
Section 8 of the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you.
I know.
Okay, I need a roll
Yeah.
call.
You go
When
home.
Honor Hank
I don't blame
graduates
you.
from our school.
Okay.
Matthias?
Yes.
DeLuca?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Ramirez? Ramirez?
Yes.
Stannis?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry about
Thank you, Lonnie.
See you later, Al.
See you, Chief.
I'll be back. I'll talk to you.
Oh, okay. All right, we also need to make sure that we shut that